In the 17th century, sugar plantations stretching beneath the Caribbean sun operated like colossal engines of mercantilism. The grinding gears of cane presses roared without pause. Boilers thundered, and vapor rose in thick clouds from massive evaporation vats. At the center of this ambitious industrial choreography flowed a liquid regarded as the dregs of the economy: molasses. For every ton of pristine white sugar exported, nearly 300 kilograms of that thick black syrup were pushed aside, dense, pungent, and quick to ferment when exposed to air. Plantation owners called it sludge, a kind of industrial mud unworthy of attention. It was dumped into pits, fed to livestock, or simply allowed to spill into the sea, dissolving into salty waves as if nature could erase waste by sheer indifference. But history is rarely forgiving toward what humanity dismisses as trash. An anonymous merchant, perhaps driven by nothing more than thrift, once attempted to boil that dark residue in a worn copper pot. What followed resembled an accident more than an invention. Light alcoholic vapors rose, condensed into droplets of clear liquid, aromatic and so flammable that a single spark illuminated the entire kitchen. Yet the true surprise was not the flame. It was the revelation that what the world had discarded as waste was, in fact, a compressed energy battery so rich in carbon that it would eventually reshape food preservation, maritime trade, and global commerce. Molasses is not spoiled sugar, physicochemically. It is a highly concentrated mixture of uncrystallized sucrose, glucose, fructose, organic acids, and minerals such as potassium, iron, and calcium. Most importantly, it contains a complex carbon matrix suspended in a viscous solution. If refined sugar is like neatly counted banknotes ready for immediate exchange, molasses resembles an unrefined gold bar, difficult to use, yet harboring immense hidden value. The sugar molecules within molasses consist of hexose and pentose ring structures, rich in CH and CC bonds that store substantial chemical energy. In its concentrated state, molasses resists crystallization because metal ion impurities disrupt the orderly lattice formation required for sugar crystals. This in-between state, neither fully crystalline nor purely liquid, renders molasses a vast, unreleased carbon reservoir, a primitive form of biofuel waiting to be unlocked. At the time, however, humanity lacked molecular analysis. People saw only blackness and sourness, and concluded, useless. It was a judgment rooted in visual instinct, a reminder that human perception often misleads technical reasoning. Yet all it required was the right catalyst, a biological key, to awaken the dormant energy within. That key was microorganisms. The yeast, Saccharomyces cerevisiae, a microscopic companion to humanity since the earliest days of bread and beer, became the invisible mechanical laborer of this transformation. Yeast possesses specialized enzymes, invertase and zymase, capable of cleaving the glycosidic bonds in sucrose, breaking large sugar molecules into smaller units. Through glycolysis, glucose is further split into pyruvate, releasing energy in the form of ATP. In the oxygen-poor environment of molasses, however, pyruvate does not enter the Krebs cycle. Instead, it is converted into ethanol and carbon dioxide. The remarkable truth is this yeast does not care whether its substrate is beautiful or refined. To yeast, molasses is a feast rich in nutrients, carbon, and minerals. Its enzymatic systems invade the dense mixture, dismantling sugar molecules like demolition crews, reducing a structure to usable parts, converting inert matter into living energy. If magnified, the process would resemble an army of yeast cells steadily consuming an ocean of molasses, releasing tiny CO2 bubbles like invisible signals that transformation is underway. What began as industrial waste evolved into a dynamic biological mixture containing ethanol, one of the most accessible energy molecules humanity would ever harness. With the emergence of ethanol, engineering history quietly turned a page. If fermentation is the stage in which yeast liberates energy, distillation is the art of harvesting it. A traditional copper pot still may appear simple, a hollow bulb, a swan neck pipe, a cooling condenser, but physically, it is a molecular separation device operating on vapor pressure differentials. Ethanol boils at 78 38, significantly lower than water and heavier impurities in fermented molasses. When heated, ethanol molecules vaporize first, carrying aromatic esters with them. Imagine forcing a chaotic cloud through a narrow aperture smaller. More agile molecules pass through, while larger compounds, organic acids, and sulfur derivatives remain behind. Inside the condenser, ethanol vapor encounters cool surfaces and returns to liquid form. This is the moment when the spirit of molasses is extracted, a dark, heavy mixture transformed through thermal separation into a clear, flammable, aromatic liquid. Distilled alcohol derived from molasses emerged as a pre-industrial form of biofuel, portable, combustible, and stable for long-term storage. In centuries defined by turbulence and expansion, the value of such a liquid exceeded imagination. Yet the technical journey did not end there. The final miracle lay within wood. When molasses-based alcohol is stored in oak barrels, a silent sequence of chemical and biological interactions unfolds over years. Oak contains lignin, hemicellulose, and tannins, compounds that undergo mild hydrolysis in contact with ethanol, releasing vanillin, lactonous, and distinctive aromatic molecules. The barrel thus functions as a biological filter, releasing flavor while absorbing harsh compounds. Under daily temperature fluctuations, the liquid expands and contracts, penetrating the wood's grain and retreating again like shuttles transporting flavor. Each cycle writes a new layer onto the evolving chemical canvas. The amber color is not aesthetic design but chemical consequence, slow Maillard-type reactions, gradual oxidation of ethanol, and the dissolution of caramelized compounds from toasted wood fibers. It is the interplay of material, temperature, and time that transforms crude distillate into a layered, complex spirit, deep and nuanced, as if signed by nature itself. Most important of all, rum was never part of a master plan. It was the unintended offspring of scientific accident, of optimizing waste and refining residue into essence. From 1% of surplus sugar, dismissed as sludge, emerged not only a drink, but a lesson sometimes. The byproduct we discard contains the energy that propels history forward.